Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Go So Beautiful. My name's Becky, and today I have a long overdue episode of Friday Sews. Thanks to Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room, who created this community for YouTube sewists and anyone else to join in and share what they've been working on in their sewing room and a little bit about life. So today I have a few things to share about sewing and a few things to share about knitting. I've just recently gotten a knitting bug, and partly because of my sister-in-law, thanks Mary Grace, who had my husband get me some sock yarn for Christmas, and I started knitting socks and just kept going. So I'll share that later. Anyway, what I've been sewing is Simplicity 8601. And I decided to make view A, which is actually cut on the bias. That's this one here and the one the model's wearing. And I wanted it because I had another top from a ready-to-wear top that had a little tie in the front, and I thought this would be a good thing, a good pattern to make to kind of, because I really like that top. Here are the line drawings on the back. It just has a round neck and a variety of different sleeve options. And you don't necessarily have to cut the whole thing on the bias. So this is actually an unfinished UFO that I had wanted to make for January. I said I was going to make one UFO per month, or finish one, and I had cut this out and back in the fall, I think, and never finished it, or maybe it was last spring. Anyway, I made it out of this. I had gotten a kind of a remnant from the fabric world, and I didn't have quite enough, but I was at Joann's and they had the same fabric. So it's this pretty kind of indigo blue, not indigo, I don't know, chambray blue linen with this kind of an embroidered stripe going through it. And it looks the same on both sides. So that's good for the tie, because when you tie it, the wrong side of the fabric shows. I cut a size 14 because in the last few times I have made tops, they've been big in the top, in the shoulders. So I just cut a size 14, and I probably should have graded out to a 16. I'll put a little footage of me wearing this. I haven't quite finished it, but it needs some work. Okay, so this is supposed to be tied in the front. And the fabric actually lends itself to this because it's the same on both sides, so it doesn't matter if the wrong side shows. However, I'm not sure I like this. It kind of sticks out, it's not very drapey, and it really doesn't do anything for my back. I need to put a button there, but it's also kind of funky. So I thought maybe if I stitched up this front seam and just made it, you know, all one length, or maybe a shirt tail, curved hem, that might look good. Also, I'm thinking about changing this trim. Kind of makes the, I don't know, I like the bias cut here. I think that looks kind of interesting, but I think it needs some work. So, things that I don't like. When I cut the outside, the front and the back on the bias, I did not cut the facing on the bias. And for some reason, it just does not want to lay flat. So I'm thinking about it has this, the back slit is also got like a facing, and I'm thinking about just cutting that off and putting some bias tape in the opening. The other thing is this slit, I probably should have lengthened the top. I don't feel like it's blousy enough to do a tie. And you can see that in my modeling, my belly shows, which I don't want to show. So it still needs some work, but like I said, I do like the way I like the way the pattern stripe looks on me, or at least I like the way it looks. And so anyway, it's not quite finished, but hopefully it will be finished soon. The other thing that's on deck, actually, I showed this to you all last video, and this is a McCalls pattern. I forget the number, I'll put it up. And I hemmed it and it looks good, but again, this shawl cowl collar just flips up. So I want to get y'all's opinion. Should I just stitch it down like here and maybe at the shoulder seams to keep it from flipping up, or should I take it off completely and line it? To take it off would be quite a bit of work. I think I'm going to try stitching it down first and seeing how that looks. And I've just ordered some burgundy colored tights to wear with this. I thought those would look good. And once I get those, I'll put it on and model it. So that was another thing I sewed. And then I was going to make another UFO. It's a little knit cardigan from Itch to Stitch Patterns. It's called the Lisbon Cardigan. I think this might be an older pattern, but I love crew neck cardigans, and I usually buy crew neck cardigan sweaters in several different colors, but I've worn mine out, and I just decided to try this pattern from Itch to Stitch called the Lisbon Cardigan. And it does come in two lengths. It comes in a cropped length and then like a hip length. Here's the line art. And I had this cut out. I was all set to sew it up. And then the first thing you have to do is iron on some interfacing in the front placket. Well, it says to use knit interfacing, and I did not have any. And nothing is more irritating to me than to get excited about sewing a project and then realize you don't have everything for it. So, long story short, I ran out to Joann and bought some knit interfacing, and then came home and decided I didn't want to make it. So anyway, I decided instead to try a different cardigan, and I had bought a couple of just plain open front cardigans last year. I bought one from Love Notions called, what is it called? The Canyon Cardigan. And I'll try to put a picture of that up. And then I also I just wanted something simple, you know, collar band, cuffs, maybe pockets. And I had this Chapman cardigan from Ellie and Mac. Now, these were probably popular a couple years ago, but I never got around to sewing them. And I have come to realize that when you print out an indie pattern, and you know, might have like 50 pages to it, I don't want to print that much. So I usually skip the instructions, printing the instructions, and then look to see how much the actual pattern, how many pages are there for the actual pattern. And this one only had like 30 pages. and that to me wasn't that much. I also, one little tip that you might want to consider is if you're printing out pattern, use scrap paper. And by scrap paper, I mean things that you printed out that you didn't use. It's still 8.5 by 11 inches, and it may only, if it's only printed on one side, then you can print your pattern on the other side and then trace it off. So that's what I did. And I've got it all, almost all put together. I just am going to have to trace it out. And I found some fabric at Fabric World. Well, I wasn't going to buy any fabric, but I felt like I needed something to make this cardigan. I needed something navy blue. Anyway, I digress. So I'm going to make that as soon as I can. And then maybe next month I'll make the Lisbon cardigan. I don't know. Okay, so that's what's on deck. The search for ponte goes on. I finally pulled the trigger and decided to buy the Arietta ponte from Style Maker Fabrics. I had a little discount code that I got from Love Notions. If you subscribe to their newsletter, sometimes they send you discount codes for fabric places. Anyway, I finally pulled the trigger, and then I got an email not long after that saying, I'm sorry, but we have run out of the navy. If you want another color, let us know. Otherwise, we'll consider it a pre-order. So I am still waiting for my navy Arietta ponte, and I'm getting a little impatient because you can see from my modeling that I wore my muslin ponte pants that I made last year, and they're just getting kind of ratty. So the other place that had ponte fabric, I wanted blue ponte, navy blue ponte, and brown, dark brown. And the only other place that had it was Mood Fabrics. Their fabric was about $19.99 a yard, and well, they had some others that was less expensive, but I requested a swatch, and I wanted to see, first of all, what the colors look like, because there was chocolate brown, espresso, and something else, maple, I don't know. Anyway, I'm still waiting to get my ponte fabric. The saga continues. All right, what did I knit? Well, I mentioned, I think in the last video, that I made a baby sweater for my granddaughter, and here it is. It's got this cute little pattern in it, and I blocked it, and it's now waiting for buttons and for my granddaughter to try it on. I had seen this made up, and it had little brown buttons on it. It only has 3 buttons in the front, but isn't that cute? And despite the mistakes, one sleeve is a little bit bigger than the other, and the cuffs aren't perfect. I'm pretty proud of my first attempt at making a sweater. Now, granted, it was for a baby. If I made one, I've started sweaters for adults, and they just never got finished. But stay tuned to see a picture of my granddaughter in this little sweater. I'm very pleased with how it came out, in spite of the mistakes. The other thing I knitted was, like I said, socks. I actually finally have a pair. This is the first one I knitted, and it came out just really big. I thought, oh, this would be nice, a nice slouchy sock, but then I was like, I can't wear this with shoes. And I was amazed at the yarn that it came out. This is a self-striping yarn. So I made my second sock, which is this one, and I made the ribbing go down the ankle, and it came out fitting a lot better. and I shortened it a little bit. So this one fit fairly well, and I think I used I cast on fewer stitches. So then I was like, okay, well, I made one. I can't wear just one sock, so I had to make another one. That's the thing about making socks. If you make one, you got to make another one. So I finished this one last night, and now I have a pair of socks. They don't have quite as much recovery as far as the stretch goes, but I think once I wash them, they might have a little bit more. And look at that, the stripes match pretty daggone well. So, I've got a whole bunch more yarn. I went a little bit nutty with ordering yarn, sock yarn, and I've got quite a few more socks to knit now. So that's my knitting story. As far as life goes, I've just been tired. I don't know whether it's post-holiday tiredness or fatigue, or I'm getting a little bit worried. Maybe I have not chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia. I probably need to talk to my doctor about it. But anyway, I just find things take a lot longer, and my energy level is a little bit low, but I don't really have to worry about it. So, God forbid I should admit that I'm getting old. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Anyway, not much is going on here. It's, almost time for the Super Bowl. I don't really celebrate. I really don't watch the Super Bowl. One thing that is coming up is the annual sewing expo, and Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room mentioned that they're going to go to there's one in Florida, like the third week of March, and she's going to have a meet and greet with some other YouTube sewists, along with anybody else who wants to show up. So if you're going to go to the sewing expo in Florida, check out Jen's video and you will get to meet her in person. I have a serious FOMO about that, but there's also a sewing expo here in Atlanta, March. I'll put the dates up. And a friend of mine asked me, and we've decided to go together. Now, if you are in the Atlanta area or want to attend the Atlanta Sewing Expo, leave me a comment. Maybe we can meet up, and I would love to meet any of you that have been watching my videos, or if you're another YouTuber and want to meet in real life. That would be a lot of fun. I haven't planned to take any classes. I've never really been to the Sewing Expo, but I might take some classes. I don't know. I think I'm probably just going to have a look and see what is going on there. Anyway, like I said, if you're planning to go to the Atlanta show, leave a comment, and maybe we can get together. That would be fun. I really hope y'all are having a great week, and I appreciate you watching my video. Please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can see when I upload new videos. I really enjoy hearing your comments. It makes sewing so much more fun. Go sew beautiful. Bye-bye.